Okay, so I don't remember what prompted me to go looking at Lucas's Facebook, but I'm still friends with him on one account. Um, it was probably something in one of Walter's videos because I had that playlist of his playing as background noise earlier today. Because every time I kind of re-listen to those, I learned something I'd missed before about Lucas. And today it led me to Facebook. So this is just me having tossed together a few screenshots in basically just a Notepad HTML file. Um, and these range from 2010, I think, is the oldest post. There might be one from 2020. Um, but there's just kind of an interesting array of Lucas's views on things, including some views of Suzanne, his last ex, and really telling look into what he feels about psych meds. And these are not from that long ago. Some of them are from 2019. But the main thing is these are talking points that he's been recycling since about 2010. And he's recycling them again now. The hypocrisy of Christians. He hasn't been going off on the mental health thing. But the hypocrisy of Christians and wanting a girlfriend and all that stuff, it's all shit that he's been recycling for over a decade now. Basically, all that shit he said on the Owls podcast about how he was past that, he moved beyond it, he grew from that. Yeah, he didn't. Um, so, yeah. I do not want to be fully sober for this, so we're dealing with that too. Hi, kitty. Dogs in bed, cats are fed. Possibly someone might walk on the keyboard, but I shouldn't at least have to get up to go let anyone out to pee because the cats use boxes. So these aren't in any particular order. I think I got most of the psych ones in order, but I really wasn't paying that close attention when I was slapping the HTML together. Hello. Um, so the first one is from about a year, I think, possibly a little less than a year after Suzanne kicked him out for the whole domestic violence break in the restraining order thing. And the only thing I have to drink in the house is a bottle of vermouth, and I'm not my alcoholic ex, so I'm not going to drink straight vermouth. And then I've got a second bottle of the Canar, but I'm leaving that one sealed. I got two of them. I could drink one that's already gone. So I actually don't have any alcohol in the house. I do have weed, though, so that's what you're getting. Yeah, too much soda made him throw a glass at the wall and violate a restraining order. Oh, wow, I can actually read this on the tiny screen because my glasses are on. So this first one was a post that he made, and this goes back and forth between his mom and bitching about Suzanne being horrible. Like, Suzanne didn't really do anything wrong in this case. But it said, bad acid reflux today. I used to take Previkate over the counter, but as things go, your girlfriend crushes your heart, leaves you homeless without money. That's not her fault. It's not her fault you haven't been employed since 1999 or 2000. And the ones you love hate your guts. Okay. So his family had cut him off by this point because of certain inappropriate comments made toward his then 11-year-old niece. They had every right to cut him off. Anyway, the ones you love hate your guts and leave you stranded for dead among the animals and the elements. No, love, you fucked up. I think my mom is bringing me some Tums. What do you think I really want? How about a girlfriend that actually loves me and doesn't leave me for dead like an inhuman and inhumane, that's what he meant. Unloving piece of monkey shit. I wouldn't wish you on my worst enemy, bitch. How about love? How about that for starters? That'd just be plumb great. And what he's leaving out here for anyone who actually knows, that meme at the bottom is great. Best Caesar salad in town. But I'm going to guess everyone here right now knows the basic history of Lucas, to know that he was not just dumped for no reason, and that he actually did get violent. Her one entire rule in that whole, I don't know what the fuck she saw in him, but her one entire rule for that whole thing was to not be violent, and he couldn't manage to not do that. So yeah, she didn't kick him out for no reason. She didn't actually even kick him out after the glass throwing incident. She was planning on it from the sounds of it. But the only time she got police involved was she kicked him out, and he was kind of acting the way he acts. So she got a restraining order, and he got the restraining order served to him and basically just stalked her to work and confronted her at her place of work, and that's what he spent time. He actually did spend time in jail for that. But yeah, sure, Suzanne's the bitch, not Lucas. Whatever. I mean, we're not surprised at all that Lucas fucked up that badly. And then it jumps to 2019 because I didn't put anything in order. But from 2019, if I had a girlfriend like 4 years ago, I wouldn't be flooding your feed with these inane, desperate posts. But I'm sick to death of feeling like I'm strange, unloved, unwanted, and a burden. This was the one that had me go looking. In one of the ones that Walter had done, he read this one out, and it was just like he admits that he knows he's basically posting desperate, asinine things, trying to get someone to fuck him, and it doesn't work. But yeah, he was going for the pity angle on there, and he feels like he's strange, unloved, unwanted, and a burden because he's all four of those things. And then he moves on later in 2019 to say, I don't hate myself, I hate most other people, they're hostile. Like Lucas doesn't have anger issues. Hello, phone. They're unloving, they won't date me. I guess you could say I hate women. Lucas is not a misogynist, as he used to say, clearly. But you could say he hates women. But I hate more men than women, and I hate men more. The women are just there, but I'm not talking to them when they're going to be violent and mean and unwilling to be open-minded to new things. Don't troll me. Give me a reason to get out of bed. Literally nobody wants you to do that. This world sucks. The reason I will accept is a girl I want that's going to date me. That's not going to happen. No LDR, stop being disruptive towards me. Questions can be answered on the website, and this is when he still had the cute older daddy website. I'm surprised he said misogynist for as long as he did. Usually he's pretty quick to correct his own pronunciation once Kiwi Farm starts making fun of him. But misogynist went on for a while. Which hell tab do I need open for this? So now he put this meme at the end of that one. So these are the kind of Lucas memes that I like the ones where he's making them into an ad for himself and not like the fake political bullshit. Well, Lucas doesn't do LDRs because every LDR Lucas has had has been a catfish, and that's how he ended up in Spokane. He's there because of an LDR. But this meme is great. It's a picture of like just a really sad gas station looking Caesar salad. It says, I'm a 37-year-old male and I know where to get the best Caesar salad in Spokane, but I'm really only interested in starting a relationship with women under 26. Greedy. He wants women under 26. And this was his old conversation, our age conversation, rage, Weebly site. 2 people under 35 together leads to telomerase overabundance. It does not. Signs include anger, depression, stress, weakened immune systems, and too much telomerase grows cancer cells. So Lucas has anger. Lucas has depression. Lucas is always stressed. His immune system's not great, but the only thing he probably doesn't have in that list is cancer. So yeah, even in his own science, he doesn't make the grade. Men between 35 and 55 give your baby stronger DNA. That typical bullshit. So the next post is from 2021. I knew there was one in here, and it was from right after he got back from being catfished to LA. We'll put the angry one up here too. That's my little thumbnail for today. So he posted this one shortly after he got back from Los Angeles, about a week or so. Couple weeks. So yeah, I was in South Central Los Angeles on December 22nd and 23rd because a catfish, capital C, sent me a plane ticket and an Uber from Santa Ana to LA proper. And I kind of firsthand wanted to see what COVID-19 did to the area. So this was after people had been calling him out for flying during COVID when he'd been bitching about people like even going out to socialize during COVID. So his excuse was he wanted to see firsthand what COVID did to Skid Row. Sure, good retcon, but okay. Well, not great. It's just a massive tent city that smells like a toilet from Skid Row to South Central LA that's virtually packed with people of color. Oh, it's virtually punched people of color right in the face. It's evident that this country only cares about greed and money. Yeah, the retconning of the trip saying he went to see what COVID-19 did, and suddenly he's virtue signaling to people who aren't white. Yeah, a lot of people warned him. I warned him it was a fucking catfish. I mean, like, directly said, I think you're being catfished. Yeah, he did love how LA smelled once apparently he was away from the tent city of Skid. He's lucky he didn't fucking die on Skid Row. Um, so yeah, that one was just kind of funny because it was him retconning the LA saga. So this one's from 2016. And this is one of those posts where he basically describes a combination of kind of being a little autistic and just being an asshole. I'm a deeply disturbed individual. The picture definitely tells that story because he's a greedy little bitch. Yeah, he definitely got warned it was a catfish for that one, and he didn't donate the catfish I sent him because he's greedy. He just left it there for the motel staff to clean up. So he says, I'm a deeply disturbed individual. I make backup plans within backup plans just to prevent myself from doing something stupid. That is not working. That is absolutely not working. Lucas does stupid things on the daily. He needs backup plans to his backup plans, backup plans. Whenever I've come close to suicidal ideation, my latent psychosis bubbles to the surface to fight my surface depression, and eventually I just even out. That is a sign that you need medication. I mean, he's on medication now, so hopefully that shit's not happening anymore. I'm a thinker. Okay, he's a thinker. All right. Maybe he does make plans. They're just all bad. I'm a thinker. This isn't my angry face. You wouldn't like my angry face. Now, if you want to see his angry face, just check out any of the screenshots or avatars on his thread on Kiwi Farms. I've got a good one for my own avatar. He does make some honestly scary, and this is a scary face to begin with. This is his thinking face, and it just looks like he's angrily taking a shit. The meds don't help him think any more clearly. They just calm him down and keep his moods even. This is the face of a man entrenched in serious contemplation. I don't think that's the expression that he's going for. I do enjoy the backwards baseball cap, though, because baseball caps are something that only clones wear, but Lucas has a... I mean, Lucas should be wearing a hat of all people who would hide that big-ass bald spot he's got. Yeah, he does not look like he's entrenched in serious contemplation. It looks like he's taking a really painful shit and he's mad about it. Atheism saves. Sure. So this one stuck out as funny because he's been going back and forth on this kick for a couple of years now about who he's going to try veganism or go vegan because he thinks maybe he can virtue signal to the vegan crowd. So this one's from 2014 if you can't see it. And it says, veganism will kill you. Let me explain. Hominidae primates include the gibbon, orangutan, gorilla, chimpanzee, bonobo, and human. Okay. The common argument from vegans is to identify only with the gorilla, since gorillas are herbivores, i.e. vegan. Well, okay, herbivores and vegans aren't the same thing, but okay. However, our closest relative, the bonobos, eat meat, vegetation, and insects, which are animal sources of food. I think that was just bad grammar because vegetation might be a source of food for animals, but it's not an animal source. Insects and meat would be, but not vegetation. I think that was just bad grammar on his part. Yeah, that picture is terrible. He's so bad at looking tough. The bonobo diet includes the aforementioned insects, which include ants, termites, and grub. Did you have to just... Everyone knows what insects mean. Jesus fucking Christ, Lucas. I am not smoking often enough to keep up with this. All right, so insects include ants, termites, grub. Just grub. Birds, other monkeys, bush babies, and the occasional piece of dead carrion, ATM machine. If it's dead, if it's not dead, it's not carrion. If it's dead, it's... Bonobos are omnivores. You could have just said bonobos are omnivores. I hate his wording on this when he tries to sound smart because it's really hard for an actual vaguely even average intelligence person to keep up with his bad grammar. Or is that chimpanzees? Our second closest hominid relative do not often eat birds, but do consume insects, other smaller primates, and bird eggs. Okay. Chimpanzees are omnivores. Gorillas herbaceous, eating only vegetation, mostly fruit. Uh, all right. Orangutans are fourth class. Vegetation, fruits, and fish. Orang. Why did he abbreviate that with orangs? Orangs have been seen precariously fishing with sharp sticks from low branches hanging over inland bays. Orangutans are omnivores. Again, why could you just not say orangutans are omnivores? You didn't have to go and explain what an omnivore is. Yeah, Lucas trying to sound smart is actually one of my favorites. It's just because he's so, like, he gets so close to at least sounding average most times, but it's kind of like when you run across like a scam website or a website where you're not really sure if the person who was writing it spoke English very well, but Google Translate keeps up enough that if you're just skimming, it looks normal with only kind of a vague feeling that something's not right. And if you stop and slow down and actually read it, then it's complete gibberish. Lucas would eat bugs if you could give Lucas a quarter and he'd eat a beetle. Gibbons, our fifth closest relative, also eat vegetation and meat. Gibbons are. He just repeats that they're omnivores. We eat meat. And then he gets back to gorillas. Gorillas are herbaceous. You're using that word wrong. Gorillas are also the most violent primates in the jungle. I don't think he's met chimpanzees if he's thinking gorillas can be aggressive, but chimps can be pretty fucked up too, and never mind baboons. Holy shit. Primates in the jungle. Gorillas are vegans. Coincidence? I think crop. The fuck? Yeah, I mean, if you offered Lucas $5, he would like definitely eat bugs. I mean, and I can't particularly laugh at that too much. I actually do like insects. I don't typically eat them live, but like baked mealworms taste like toasted soy nuts. They're really good. You can just mix them with a little sriracha and salt. That was the other word I was looking for. I kind of autopilot when I read Lucas. My brain just reads each word as it comes, and I try not to think about what he's actually trying to mean, and I stop. Hello, kitty. Please don't step on the keyboard, and please don't bite the mic. And also, please don't step on me because I'm trying to do things. Hi, you're cute. Scoot. Come on. Scoot. Come on, keep scooting. Figured a cat would get up here. Yeah, even reading Lucas's stuff out loud, if I stop and think about it, it honestly doesn't make sense most of the time. If I stop and really slow down, like I've got a fairly extensive career experience of translating goddamn nonsense from clients. So I'm usually pretty good at figuring out borderline gibberish and translating it into functional English. But yeah, Lucas is a challenge. Hi, kitty. Again, please do not rub your face on the mic. You're blocking the screen. Hi. Yeah, you're cute. But maybe please go somewhere else right now. Go sit on the back of the chair. Not that late. I've only been going for, like 18 minutes? Oh, what else are we doing here? Oh, God, here he's back. So now we're back in 2012. So this is very, very soon after he got dumped. I think this was after he got dumped. Currently living in a hotel room. So yeah, this was shortly after Suzanne kicked him out. So it says, I'm looking for a proper response from my overly watchful family, his mother, basically, suggests that I ought to check into a psych ward. So this is important because if you don't go back far enough in Lucas's history, a lot of people who are relatively new to him or only started following him, like even just after the Starbucks thing in 2016, they tend to ask the same question of, well, why doesn't his family do anything? Well, first of all, his family's largely cut him off. But they did try to be involved in his life at some point. And like you can see in the first sentence here, like they were suggesting like, hey, maybe you should go get some help. But because of the way patients' rights and whatnot work, you can't just have somebody committed and you have to go to court for it. And they don't have the money, the time, or the inclination to want to do that. And Lucas has bragged before, and I really need to go looking for that post sometime. But he bragged at one point that when he had his final hearing before he got out in 2017 to get out of the psych ward, that he managed to, in his own words, pull it together long enough to convince the judge that he was fine. So, yeah. Let's see. I don't understand what the problem hinges upon. I'm not suicidal. I currently live in a hotel room, but I don't want to kill myself. I'm not entirely hopeless. I sort of feel that one of the freest points of my life. I'm considering getting a mental health counseling license. Oh my God. Could you imagine Lucas being a licensed therapist for anything? I wonder how far he got on that one before he gave up. Because, I mean, he was going to do like quantum physics and astrobiology and a bunch of shit too, and that didn't last a semester. Yeah, he is manipulative. Like, even if you watched on the Outcast Owls podcast, Lucas can hold it together when it benefits him. It benefited him on that podcast to keep it together and to seem like just a nice, normal guy who was getting help. He was able to do that in front of the judge. He's able to do that with a lot of people, and that's why some people actually will defend him for a while. Yeah, I have no idea how long I'm going to go. Probably not super late, but saying that probably means I'm going to be babbling for 3 fucking hours or something. Yeah, I could not imagine Lucas even just like trying. Like, and I kind of understand that concept. Like, it would be nice to have more people involved in psychotherapy or psychiatry that actually are mentally ill themselves, because they tend to be a little better with dealing with mentally ill people sometimes. Let's see. He wasn't hopeless. Mental counseling license. I'm not a drug user. I haven't smoked pot in a while. This is from 2012. I feel fine. I don't drink to an excess. I am passionate about ideas like reason, truth, and exercise of thought. Pull down there, neckbeard. I have respect for the law. I don't hang out with the criminal element. I don't judge people based upon belief or appearance. He judges people based on their beliefs all the goddamn time. I'm friendly. No. I speak my mind. Fair enough, he does. I'm a good debater. A good debater. And he's not afraid of public speaking. I can smile when a smile is shared. I'm good to those who are good to me. I'm funny. I can make you laugh. I'm responsible. Oh, Lucas, the up-and-coming licensed mental health counselor who's responsible. I can share my opinion without getting hurt by opposing views. Bitch, you cannot. You get pissed anytime someone doesn't agree with you. I'm heartfelt, compassionate, intelligent, humble. Humble must be a big boy word he doesn't know either. All right, so Lucas says he is heartfelt, compassionate, intelligent, humble, proud to be an American, keen on world events, aware of my surroundings. Rational, benevolent, respectful, moral, good with young people, older people, animals, children, the infirm, and the sick. Jesus. He's real humble. I'm understanding, principled, calm, cool, kind. I'm an atheist. I need to take humble out of there. Good Christ. Lucas is like atheist Jesus. That was bad even for Lucas. And this one below it is from 2010. And 2010 is kind of where this started with like the psych meds thing. Said, I hate seeing the psychiatrist and I hate synthetic meds. Why must I go? We all know psychiatry is not an empirical science with testable hypotheses. Let's see data and not a constant reminder that some guy with a crackerjack medical license thinks he knows how my brain works without ever having looked at it. That's not... What... Does he think you can see mental illness, like through an MRI or a CT scan? I mean, technically they found since that time that you can see like certain... electrical pattern differences, but yeah. And then that one goes on. This one skips around between, but you can see if you look at the dates that this is an ongoing pattern of thinking with him from 2010 through at least 2019. Psychiatrists are the modern day version of alchemists. They basically crapshoot and just say it's an infant science, like quantum physics or cosmology aren't younger sciences that use actual magnification tools. Again, what does he think? Is somebody going to use a magnifying glass to look at his brain and see that it's rotten? Instead of guesswork, and it's the same vein as a tarot card reader or a priest. Lucas doesn't complain when I give him readings. Plus, I've been 100% on, but, it's not that hard. It's Lucas. He's predictable. Oh, I must have mixed something in. Oh, no, this was threatening to kill myself or threatening to kill himself, not me. No, Lucas wouldn't fall for Scientology because it involves a god. Anything that's going to involve some kind of god, he won't even fall for it. Yeah, Lucas is a lot more funny and easy to understand if I'm not sober. I wouldn't call it 100%. Now, let's see. Lucas says on January 1st, 2015, I need a girlfriend and I'm tired of not having sex. I sometimes wonder if threatening to kill myself would get women to love me like I'm a man. It would be easy enough to do. I could just get a bottle of psych meds and swallow the entire bottle at once with my medical. It's not anything I'm seriously considering, more of a passing fascination. So this is another one of those things that within the last year, so mostly 2020 and 2021, he started to publicly, like in videos, threaten to kill himself. And would say that he would go to the ER on a quote-unquote suicide threat. Not a suicide attempt, not that he was thinking of killing himself, just he was going to threaten it. Because and if you paid attention to when he was doing this, for the most part, save for last late summer, fall, he would do this when the weather was bad. So if there was like a particular heat wave going on, or if it was especially cold, or if it was going to be rainy for an extended period of time or for a few days, he would often become suicidal and present to the ER saying he was having thoughts of killing or harming himself. He'd get put on a 72-hour hold. The weather would be better by the time he got out, and he was good to go. And he'd be like, yeah, I'll take my meds, and then scurried off into the park again. But yeah, well, Lucas did the whole virgin sacrifices to the volcano because women won't fuck him, and somehow that's going to make women want to fuck him. And then we go on to 2014 where he says, I'm down at gay pride. I don't necessarily think that's what they call those festivals, but Lucas was down at gay pride June 21st, 2014. I'm probably the only straight guy down here without a girlfriend. This guy on the stage is talking about his old church, how he rebelled. I'm there. My face is full of homosexuality. I'm thinking about that final taboo. Don't you think schizophrenia is a manufactured disease? Manufactured by sin. I'm sorry, my face is full of homosexuality. I'm thinking about the final taboo. Is your final taboo fucking a dude? Or what are we going here? Yeah, I don't know if the final taboo is him getting a face full of homosexuality, or if he means like killing himself, or what the hell he's talking about there, but I'm there, my face is full of homosexuality, I'm thinking about the final taboo. I'm going to be a boomer, or Gen X, but I'll call myself a boomer. And I'm going to see if that makes any sense, if it's like some old ass slang that I don't recognize. Well, it was a 1988 movie about a sleazy TV evangelical. Two sleazy TV evangelicals try to dig up dirt on the other. Well, both provide amplify. Actually, that looks like it might be kind of a funny movie to watch. 4.8 out of 10. Oh, it's definitely going to be. I'm going to have to bookmark that and watch it later. The first Google result is that it was a terrible movie. I guess there's a book with the same name. There's a lot of books with the same name. A couple of paintings. $1,500 painting. What is this? I'm in a completely different browser. Yeah, I don't like that painting. That's a bad painting. Okay, I'm going to go away from that tab. I don't like that anymore. Okay, so yeah, the final taboo, your guess is as good as mine. Lucas wouldn't be smart enough to reference some weird old movie. But, well, he's an ally enough to them to have a face full of homosexuality, I guess. That could mean a lot of things, and none of them are really, I'm sure, what Lucas is trying to imply. This was also back when his diagnosis. So the first, and this is again, you have to believe what Lucas and his mom post, but his first diagnosis, the one that got him on disability, was bipolar, and that was in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And then he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He's admitted that. His mom posted about it in her blog. And then he got re-diagnosed as not schizophrenic, but schizotypal. And then after that, he got re-diagnosed as bipolar 1. And bipolar 1 is his most current diagnosis, but who the fuck knows what's actually wrong with his brain? Certainly interesting. The cure for mental illness is simple. Calm the patient down and tell them no one gives a shit. Marijuana and atheism. I don't think that works because that's not how you fix a chemical imbalance in the brain. Pinning someone down, telling them to calm down, and then telling them no one gives a shit. But sure. They always say psychiatry is more an art than a science. Okay, that's true. Art is meant to inspire, not always. All psychiatry ever does is bring people down. Citation needed. The ego it takes to feel insignificant while looking at the stars is the equivalent of schizophrenia and an individual who believes himself to be God. An ego is as infinite as the multiverse. What? Okay, psychiatrist, glorified drug dealer with less knowledge in chemistry. Well, they don't have to be. They're not a compounding pharmacy. That's somebody else's job. Let's see. Psychologist, glorified bartender with no knowledge in chemistry. Again, a psychologist doesn't prescribe drugs. They don't have to have a knowledge of chemistry in general. That's not what that profession does. Psychologist plus psychiatrist, best boy / girlfriend in the world. Psychiatrists shouldn't be given medical doctorates if psychiatry is more than an art. That's okay. No, I'm not even going to go into how he's misunderstanding what a doctorate. Yeah, he doesn't understand the difference between a psychiatrist and a pharmacist. I mean, if you want to go into pharmacology, then yeah, you have to have a pretty good grasp of chemistry and measuring and math and compounding and all that shit. You don't have to have that to prescribe it. You just have to have that to compound it and to make it. Psychiatrist, dear psychoanalysts of the world, smoke weed, have sex with who you love. The rest of the universe doesn't give a shit. Okay. I wonder what he would do if someone told him that for certain people, certain strains of weed can actually trigger psychosis and paranoia. He'd probably tell me I was making that up. Wouldn't be surprising. Oh, I need to scroll. Oh, I'm almost at the last one. So he's back here with his more psychologist or like bartenders thing. Hey, why aren't you showing the bottom of this thing? There's one more below that and it doesn't want to show it. That's super annoying. Anyway, psychologists are like bartenders. They listen to people talk, and when they refer you to a glorified barkeep, known as a psychiatrist who pours you your favorite. So if the psychologists are the bartenders, why are they sending you to a psychiatrist to pour you the drink? They're a bartender. Why isn't the... Damn it, Lucas. What if I don't like his favorite drink? What if I don't want to drink it all? Then why are you at a bar? What if I want to smoke some weed? Don't go to a bar. What if I don't need to smoke any weed? Don't smoke the weed. Why don't you take your negative opinions of me and keep it in your private stash? Think about my questions, would you? I'm going to see if I refresh that and get that last page to show up, because there's one more below it, and if it doesn't show up, whatever, I'm not going to fight with it. Oh, here we go. I was down at the bottom of the screen. Okay. So the last one I grabbed from 2014 with institutionalized murder, your thing, and you'd like a clinical approach to your sadism. Become a psychiatrist. You were bullied. This is how you get back at them. Legalized homicide. Can you tell Lucas was off his meds in this series of posts? And this is one of those things, too, that this recycled itself into 2019, and until he couldn't afford weed anymore, up until like 2020, when he stopped being able to like easily afford to get weed all the time. he would often rant like this, either in public, he would do it in private as well, talking about how if you were on drugs for any sort of mental illness or anxiety or anything, that you were being lied to. That's really great to tell somebody if they tell you that they have, like, paranoid thoughts or that they get anxious. It's like, oh, your doctor's lying to you. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just drugging you for no reason. I'm like, yeah, Lucas, you aren't medicated. And he'd be like, yeah, just smoke some weed. And it's like, okay, weed does have medicinal properties. It's also very fucking calming, and I do like it better than benzos. Way less addictive, and it's actually not cheaper. My benzos are super cheap, even without insurance. But it doesn't work for everybody. And in a lot of states, even where it's legal, you can still be fired from your job, even if it is legal recreationally, or in the states where it requires a medical marijuana card. Even if you have that, it's still illegal on the federal level, and employers can still fire you if you fail a drug test. So weed is not, at this point, like a widespread option. And for some people, it does actually make their symptoms worse. THC does not have a great effect on some people. CBD is a slightly different thing, but THC is a psychoactive. Certain types of mental illness may not react well to it. It can make it significantly worse for a lot of people. I know between me, the two different strains, one of them acts like Adderall, but has a side effect to make me extremely nervous about everything. And the other one is just relaxing. But yeah, I get borderline paranoid with certain strains. So, in that case, it makes that part of it worse for me. I just stay away from those strains, though. But yeah, this is something that he's recycled. And I will be fair to him, when he gets like this, he's typically not on his meds. So that makes, a little more sense that he's doing that. Yeah, Delta 8 and Delta 9 are usually what I go for. The actual real stuff is not technically legal where I am. But because Delta 8, 9, and 10 come from industrial hemp, it is legal due to loopholes. Ever. I'm sure that'll change eventually, or they'll fix the loophole, and then I'll just have to go back to regular CBD. But if it's regular CBD, I'm not going to fuck my lungs up on it. Well, yeah, and some of that's going to depend too on the individual and on what type of schizophrenia they have. But generally, anything where you're going to potentially have symptoms of paranoia or like auditory or visual hallucinations, you don't want to add psychoactives to your recreation. Yeah, 9 is a little bit closer to the quote unquote real thing than 8, and 10 is a little bit weaker. I usually stick with 8 because it's the most readily available, often in stock, and not quite as expensive as 9, but they both do all right. But yeah, there's a 9 and 10 as well. The place that just opened up here sells all three. 10, I think, is more expensive because it's harder to extract. But yeah, there's a couple of people I know that haven't been diagnosed as schizophrenic, but they have other disorders that tend to lead to paranoid thinking. And they were both warned against weed, didn't listen, and ended up not having a good time, to put it lightly. One of them told me that he basically had like a conscious blackout, like he wasn't actually blacked out, but the first thing he remembers was smoking, obviously, and then the next thing he remembers, and it turns out it was like 5 or 6 hours later, he's standing in the shower with the water on cold, fully clothed, does not remember going there, doesn't know why he's there, has no idea. And then the other couple of people I've known that have had that happen just had panic attacks. So, but yeah, for certain types of mental illness, especially the strains that are meant to kind of be more energizing and make you a little more creative, those are usually going to be more likely to cause a problem. But either way, if you don't react well to THC, it's probably best to stay the fuck away from it. Like, weed is not a miracle plant. It's good for a lot of things, and the way that the government dealt with getting it into the state that it's in is completely fucked up and ridiculous. Oh yeah, and fentanyl has made it into the local illegal weed population around here, and people are freaking out. And I've just been poking them because they're people I know. I'm like, hey, if you know somebody that's going to do this shit anyway, go get the closest thing to legal. Here are the 3 shops here that sell it. But yeah, mushrooms I've never actually done Mostly because the last time somebody offered them to me, I was still in my like shit marriage and on like 4 or 5 different psych meds for my depression, and I did not want to think about the how those could potentially react badly with like 4 different psych meds. Um, but that was probably a good choice, and I with the amount of animals I have in the house here and the amount of like weird antiques and shit I've got laying around the house, the last thing I really want to do is hallucinate anything. Because I got like old antique dolls and shit, and I just know they're going to start moving or talking or manifesting demons on the wall or something. But yeah, and the thing about fentanyl that always gets me is I'm part of a very select Norwegian background that has a particular mutation that makes you extremely insensitive to any sort of opioids. The last time I had surgery, it's very interesting to hear the doctor outside your little recovery room go, "You gave him how much fentanyl?" And then kind of hear the nurse muttering something, "And he's still alive!" And like the curtain rips back and the fucking doctor's running over to the machines, and I'm completely alert and awake. Uh, and it's like, yeah, she's been in here like 3 times. I got like 3 doses of fentanyl. She gave me a couple of Vicodin. I keep telling her it's not going to do anything because it doesn't. But they just think you're an addict when you say that because you have high tolerance. I'm like, no, I had to have genetic testing before this surgery, man. I don't have the receptors to process this drug. She could give me probably 20 more doses at that level before I would even start to feel woozy about it. And he's like, "Can you get up and walk? If you can get up and walk to the bathroom and back, we'll discharge you because you can clearly go." Okay, I'll get it. So I got up and shuffled down the hall and back, and they're walking next to me but not touching me because they don't, want you to fall. And the whole time, this doctor's looking at me like completely just fucking baffled. And like, yeah, it doesn't touch anything for pain, but it's also not going to kill me if someone accidentally overdoses me on it. Not that I would test that theory on like street weed up here, but yeah, I can't have those sorts of painkillers because they don't do anything to me. They Vicodin especially actually wakes me up. Um, I get very energetic on Vicodin, which isn't what you typically want after a surgery. Yeah, it's kind of weird they're putting the fentanyl in weed. But yeah, anything that's gonna make me potentially hallucinate with just all the weird shit I have in my house, I don't want to hallucinate any of that shit starting to move. I don't need that. Sometimes it startles me enough at night if I come out here and I can't see well enough to remember what they are. But yeah, I've got like 3 old porcelain dolls, a shelf full of skulls, some taxidermy, some 120-ish-year-old teddy bears, bunch of old books, bunch of old cameras. There's a lot of shit in here that hallucinations would not mix well with, and that's not even including the animals that move and make sounds, because that'd be just amazing to stay away from that shit myself. Yeah, I'm never gonna find out what kind of accent gnomes have because I'm never gonna see them. Oh, very little is gonna help Lucas's ultimate goal is he's never gonna hit it. But I kind of wonder if Lucas has ever done anything like that. He'd probably say, "No, hey, 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 get back in there." Hands are dry enough to have caught the edge of my screen. Jeez, I gotta fix that. So yeah, these were the Facebook ones that I pulled up here. Let me actually, which browser am I logged into that Facebook account on? Oh, first try. I just gotta get back to Lucas's page and switch tabs. And turn off my bookmarks bar because it's a bunch of weird old. Wow, I have the Sith to Basic Translator bookmarked. What the hell? When was I using that? Why would I use that? Wow. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna get away from looking at my own bookmarks bar and wondering why the hell I bookmarked everything I bookmarked. All right. Let's just Look, literally on this Facebook account, once I actually get it up, I am the only, or Lucas is the only friend that I have because I don't use this account for anything. All friends, Lucas Werner. God, that's depressing to look at. Okay, so let's see here. I love the search profile stuff you can do here because there's so much stupidity on Lucas's. Here we go. Nice. So I just kind of ran up a search on psychology for his thing here. And let me just switch windows. Oh yeah, it is getting a bit late. Come on, window capture. Oh, let's see if it actually finds it, which is going to be doubtful because that window's not there anymore. It doesn't always refresh the windows that I have open, and I have it set to basically only open matching titles, so it finds like old shit and doesn't do anything with it. Okay, so I just did a search on psychology for Lucas's page here. Probably, I mean, he's got not a ton, but he's got enough here. One of them looks like he just stole from. Oh, no, he starts it with Jesus. But yeah, the first one says the fact that men are always attracted to younger women and women largely don't become attracted to older men until they're in their 30s tells us that marketing psychology really works and the whole entire system of money is self-destructive. It doesn't really do any of those things. I mean, it really doesn't. Some of this is just like him bitching about religion, but he mixes it in. Don't have a lot of hope for religion. Psychiatry and psychology is religion like, I was checked into mental hospitals seven times. Let's expand that one. 7 times. As soon as I told them I'm an atheist, they let me go 12 times. I was checked into a mental health hospital 7 times. As soon as I told them I was an atheist, they let me go 12 times. They wouldn't even let me in. Why do you think? I don't think this ever happened. Why do you think the mental health hospital denied me 12 times when I told them about why I'm an atheist? Could it be that I know what I'm talking about? How is psychology a science? How is... Lucas doesn't know what an MRI is. He doesn't know what an MRI is. And actually, you can actually pinpoint certain types of mental illness by measuring the type of brain activity that's going on. It's not the most effective way to do it, but they have found differences in brain activity in the regions of activity in people who have like severe clinical depression, ADHD, and autism in some cases. So what a shocker, Lucas is wrong. Let's see what the comments are on this. He deletes comments too, so a lot of times if you are friends with him on Facebook, it looks like he's just babbling to himself, but he's just gone through and like blocked and deleted somebody. You in the military, I was not. Lucas, I'm willing to discuss depression with you if you want to message. I don't have depression, Connie. Thanks. Oh, and I don't need my sins washed away. Do you see what I'm talking about with the OP? Do you see? Just like religion. Religion teaches you that there are angels. Psychology teaches you that there are demons. No, it doesn't. The hell kind of psychologist was he going to? Like maybe if you found a religious lunatic, that might happen. But yeah, that whole story was a lie. Oh, the point I'm trying to make about mental illness is that neurological slash chemical issues involve looking at neurons and chemicals. Which one of you has had a God, I hate him sometimes. And that, because I know he's going to listen to it later, is a complete joke. He is not worth the energy to hate, but he does sort of shut down my brain sometimes. Psychology is a science like religion is a Jesus thing. Well, I mean, religion is a Jesus thing for millions of people. That's the central pillar of their religion. This poor woman trying to explain how drugs work. Not at all. MRI, CAT scan. We're clearly not getting red lasered. Psychology isn't a crapshoot. I bet you'll take these pills. I bet I won't. Then I bust out my Chris Tucker routine. What does that mean? This I thought he might have. This is an article he wrote. Oh, this is fun. I haven't actually read this one. Let's see how I can do on this one. It already looks like word salad, and I haven't done anything other than skim it. I mean, that wouldn't be surprising when actual scientists don't fix your kid's busted brain, send him to a faith healer. The hell's the worst that could happen there? Couldn't make it worse. With soap. Okay, so we're going to try to read through this word salad. This is a little article Lucas wrote May 24th, 2014. God, how am I going to make it through this one? Oh, it's got comments I'll have to look at too. Why it's time to abandon psychopharmacology. That is a word I guarantee you he Googled, spelled wrong, and took the corrected spelling from Google to get right. There's no evidence Jesus actually existed. This does not have to. I would have been given an F for this in high school because you can't follow. Your opening paragraph needs to make sense. The Jesus story was about a guy who could turn water into wine at 12 closed businesses. Lucas claims to have read the Bible. Jesus is the story about a guy who could turn water into wine, had 12 close business associates, and people fawning over them wherever they go. That's not exactly accurate. Jesus was obviously a crime lord. Billions of Christians worldwide say Jesus died an innocent man. Charles Manson's followers also called Charles Manson innocent. I mean, technically, Charles Manson didn't directly kill anyone, if that's what Lucas is implying, but yes, billions of Christians say they honestly believe Jesus Christ lived and died like the juggalos. Was he into a juggalo phase here? Great Malachino might be real. No, they don't. It's important to note that ICP members Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope have on a number of occasions professed that ICP is a Christian group. Who cares? What does this have to do with pharmacology other than prove that you need meds? Where did ICP get the... Oh, it's a metaphor for Satan, Jesus' enemy. Call it a hunch. Or it's a stage act. I'm going to go with stage act, but okay. It can only be surmised that the entire story of Jesus Christ is made up like the insane clown posse to make money. Okay. Again, religion is about money and power. Okay, that's not technically wrong. Anybody who tells you any different needs money to stay in power. That doesn't make sense. Psychology and psychiatry are no different than religion, money, and power. Friends of psychologists and psychiatrists will tell you different. Anybody who tells you psychology and psychiatry isn't about money and power, needs money to stay in power, which is no different than religion. Damn word salad. Maybe it's time to examine the little Eucharist you put in your mouth every day with the RX on the bottle so you'll remain holy/compliant. I just like to be able to work without getting distracted by staring at a wall for 6 hours straight. It's not a religious experience to down an Adderall, Christ. No, psychologists and psychiatrists care, just like the preachers and deacons care to take your money to keep in modest comfort will you suffer. Question why you believe what you believe. You dismiss religion because your certain religion is wrong. Perhaps it's also time to abandon psychopharmacology for the same reasons. What the fuck? That was worse than I would have imagined it to be. Juggalos would kick Lucas's ass. I would actually pay to watch some juggalos kick Lucas's ass. I gotta look at the comments to see if Lucas actually responded to anybody. I was with you until you bashed a necessary industry. Fair enough. Can you explain why consumers... Because the psych drugs early on give them motivation they might not have had when they were soul-crushingly depressed, and that's why you see the uptick in suicides. Because they get their motivation back before they've had a chance to fix the problem with it. So this guy said one thing to him, right? One thing. And it wasn't a very long thing. He was basically just saying that psychiatry is based on repeatable, verifiable, peer-reviewed science with a history of success, and equating the two intellectually is dishonest. And Lucas lost his shit. He's not even giving real arguments. He's linking to things like top documentary films and his own webpage. Oh, so after he just posts two bullshit articles, he tries to get the guy to work for him for free. I know you have connections in the corporate world. I know you work in visual design, public relations, and marketing. Perhaps you can see the potential in what I have visually designed. And he linked to his old Weebly site. He was showing him the shit. Oh, I had some shirts designed at a printing shop. So the guy goes back and says, you insult me and then want to help you make shirts. No, I do design and printing for small business and atheist groups. I've never worked for a drug company. I just disagree with you as to your stupid question about why people on psych drugs have higher rates of suicide. Because they suffer from depression and mental problems. Pills don't always work, but without them, suicide rates would be higher. Insult you, go cry into a pile of money. Go cry into a pile of money. So the guy says, by the way, I own my own company. I don't work for a PR firm. People I know and love are helped by medicine. I just couldn't be silent when you made such an asinine statement. Do you need help? I'm not being mean. I see from your wall that you're alone a lot. Do you need to talk to somebody? Lucas replies, you'd only want people to take pills to protect your ass from the potential here at the bottom. Adam says, potential what? Lucas says, I'm fine. Myself and the rest of the 99% get by. Potential talent. Real artists like me. And then he's trying to convince Lucas that, he just didn't read the science or doesn't understand it. Said, but on the whole, they help people. I make no money off of any company associated with Big Pharma. I'm offended that you write off my arguments so easily. You think anyone who disagrees with you must be tied to the money from pharmaceuticals? Sad. Lucas replies with, let's sidestep your opinion for a second. And Adam says, what? I'm not a real artist? LOL, I've sold tens of thousands of dollars worth of art. I've designed dozens of shirts. Mine actually sell. Lucas replies with, I like money, Adam. Or if you'd equate art to money, it's as plain as day. And then Lucas goes on to say, Nike has also made billions selling art. I hardly think sales equate value, Adam. Tell us about the slave labor market used to make your business grow and your art profitable. And Adam comes back and says, I'm only equating it because when people like your art, they show it by giving you money. And Lucas says, fair enough. How's my art? Is it worth money? I wish I could see the art that was on the page that's not there anymore. And Adam says, slave labor market. I work for myself. My employees make $20 to $40 per hour. Do some research before making dumb statements. Lucas says, sounds lucrative. And Adam says, the only thing I've seen from you is the shirt design. Had it not been titled Conversation, I wouldn't have been able to read it. Oh, that was his $1 million shirt idea. And Lucas says, imagine asking people to wearing the shirt what it said, spurning such. What? And to answer your question, I do need help selling my designs. Let's see, most people won't. It's not a horrible design. Here's one I made, sold dozens. And then Lucas critiques that guy's shirt that's actually readable. Jesus Christ. Christ, Lucas. Sometimes the best parts of Lucas's posts on Facebook are in the comments when people actually try to reason with him. Yeah, go cry to your money, t-shirt man, Adam. See, there may be bipolar, schizophrenics, and ADHDs like there may be nerds, dorks, and geeks, but the classification we do is pseudo-religious. Psychology is not an art. Psychology is an art in the same way that tying a rope around a guy's neck and slicing open his innards is, I mean, that's an art if you can do it right without him falling from the tree, I guess. Or the gallows, or wherever the hell you're hanging someone to gut him like a field dressing a deer. Psychology may be an art, but you just said psychology wasn't an art. Is it an art or is it not an art? I mean, because technically what you described is grotesque art, but it's still art. Psychology may be an art, but psychology is a mentally deficient form of art. Psychology may be an art, but psychology is a mentally deficient form of art devoid of humanity. What? Maybe he explains in the comments. I mean, I'm not thinking he's going to explain in the comments, but... Oh, good, the first comment was what? So Lucas responds to the what, the clarification. He must have deleted posts from somebody because there's conversations that look like they're missing the reply above them. But let's go on with what Lucas says in the comments. I'm an atheist, you're a Republican, you believe in God, you're an idiot, we're crushing you, you're a Democrat, you don't have a choice. If I'm the man, then you're the fucking man as well, so you can point that fucking finger up your ass. The problem is the dude who chimes in right at that. Ugh. Here's the difference between Mexicans and Canadians. You hand a Mexican a gun and he'd just as soon shoot himself than allow you to not care. You hand a Canadian a gun and he'll shoot you. There's no reason for Canadians to be in the States unless he's seeking fame and fortune in either NYC or LA. Oh, but Olympia is such a vibrant art community. I wonder if he's bitching at Adam in this one. I don't know. The whole fucking country of Canada is Olympia, Washington. I have no idea why Canadians would even come to Washington State in the first fucking place. It's to be rude to everyone else. I really want to know what he was replying to with that one, because that's specific. Lucas hates Canadians, I guess? Oh, is he quoting Tool? Yeah, I know he likes Tool, but I really fucking don't. I think I've heard one song by them. I'm a Democrat, woman. Retract your words. I'm quite liberal. You'd better not go with me if you're a Ron Paul bot. I really, really want to know who he was arguing with there. Psychology is a joke. It's like selling cigarettes, a product you don't need. Nicotine's a decent enough stimulant. It's not good for you, but... What the hell word is he trying to say here? Psychopharmacology? Are all on psychometaherpderptions? Metaherpderptions? That what he was trying to say, medications and be hip for the millennials? This would be millennials' time. Yeah, he totally respects women. He even calls them females sometimes. Oh, here's more when he's talking about a diagnosis that he had. So this is from June 14th, 2014. Because I went to a counselor early last summer. I already had the bipolar. And then they said it was simple. I already had the bipolar. Don't going to get the bipolar again. I had relationship problems. I went back and back because I have the case history. Each time the diagnosis increased to something else. Borderline, bipolar, one even came up schizophrenia. Different intake, different observations. Psychology is not an objective science. Two scientists look at a missile and can figure out how the missile works and have the same view of the physics. You can't change the laws of physics. Mm. False equivalency. Psychologists each look at a person, and two different histories arise based upon the psychologist's opinions. Science is not an opinion, and reason is not destructive to another human being. So anyway, Borderline's a new one, but that wouldn't surprise me with the way he flips the fuck out whenever he gets his feelings minorly bruised. So yeah, in 2014, by that point, he had the diagnosis of bipolar, borderline, and schizophrenia. Well, maybe he's all three. God, what is he bitching about here? I saw Third Reich. Oh, okay. So he also went through kind of a phase where he was comparing psychologists and psychiatrists to like actual Hitler and actual Nazis. It doesn't equate. Yeah, cigarettes are calming if you have ADHD. That's what stimulants do to you. But yeah, I made it through a couple years of college on a steady diet of nicotine, Adderall, and really strong coffee. Yeah, Lucas is terrified of being abandoned. That's why he's going to keep you with him. Let's see. So we're still in 2014. This one's from March. All you ever did was burn us at the stake as heretics and castrate us from your school? I don't think he meant to use the word castrate there, but he did. So we're being castrated from schools as infidels as we brought you science, art, democracy, and civilization. Talking about, we taught you how the world worked, and in turn you kicked our faces in as you stole our gifts and claimed them as your own. You're still doing it today with corporateocracies, budgetary concerns, war, and my favorite remnant from that woebegone era of monocratic, high-class, small governance known as the Third Reich clinical psychology. What? Does he think the Nazis invented psychology? I really hope he doesn't think that, but he probably does. I mean, Lucas's balls are bigger than his dick. If he got castrated, that would be the worst possible outcome for him. Yeah, why did he use the word castrate there? Psychology and religion are the exact same thing, 2014 still. They both make up a situation in order to sell you a condition from a vocation I don't think he meant to use the word vocation there. Now let me show you this magical website, rageconversation.weebly.com. 98% of the world claims to hear the voice of God. Well, I must be one of the 2% because I don't typically hear voices that aren't my own. Hearing voices is called schizophrenia. There's actually a few other mental illnesses that do that as well. That was my reasoning behind saying theists are schizophrenics. It could also be that you, as a theist, are lying to save grace with your religious neighbors. You're fucking Kai Wynn? What's going on here? Either way, it is a neurological condition, and you should check yourself into a mental hospital if those voices, whether they're, oh god, this is Flying Spaghetti Monster era. That is an old post. Oh, 2013. Because it's all psychosis, and 98% of the world is mentally ill based on those parameters. Belief is entirely geographic, but neural pathology is neural pathology, and if you hear voices, you're mentally ill. Lucas telling people that he's mentally ill and telling them to seek counseling and a long stay in a mental health ward, I would. No, you wouldn't. Oh, yelling at trolls here. Oh, he's yelling about religion again. Are you agnostic to the existence of vampires? A corpse, supposed in Eastern or in European folklore, to leave its grave at night and drink the blood of the living. Yeah. Did he just like paste the dictionary definition of vampire? Okay. Does your skin burn in direct sunlight? Yeah, if I stay out long enough. Do you drink blood? Not usually. Does silver burn your skin? I mean, silver won't burn anyone's skin, but if you leave it on long enough and don't take it off, it does react with your skin oils and it will tarnish the silver and your skin black in that area. Are you allergic to garlic? I am not, but that is an actual valid allergy. Do crosses burn your skin? Not at room temperature. Unless the answer to all of these questions is yes, unless you're a bat, that's not what, well, I mean, be a vampire bat, I guess. You are not a vampire. You're not just practicing reverse psychology, are you? Oh, this was when he was going by Luke to seem cooler. The hell was that? If you can't answer yes to all of those questions unless you're an actual bat, you're not a vampire, you're not practicing reverse psychology, are you? That's not what reverse psychology is. Somehow Luke Werner sounds slimier than Lucas Werner, and I'm not sure why. If anybody asks if you're mentally ill, this is 2013, you should say no, or yes, but that you cure it with large amounts of whatever it is you like to do in your free time. Or maybe psychologists are mentally ill because when psychology examines the sky, ego won't allow psychology to see anything other than the self as insignificant, or maybe it's none of your business what I believe. The fact is, coexistence between various religious groups has been proven impossible. Conversation between various religious groups is at least somewhat plausible. Oh, this is why he came. Okay, I always kind of wondered why he came up with that shitty shirt that was like a ripoff of the coexistence shirt and the coexistence stickers, because his was basically the same thing, only it said conversation and it was harder to read. The coexistence movement has made millions, and oh well, yeah, they have. The conclusion is that impossible truths are often much less appealing to the public eye than plausible falsehoods. I hate that shirt. So here's one from 2011 when his diagnosis was bipolar, and he actually, well, I'm not going to click it because it's probably a clickbait site at this point. But this is one of the ones where he was still in the bipolar diagnosis, because usually he will bitch specifically about whichever illness he's been diagnosed with at the time that he's bitching. So he's bitching about bipolar, so he must have been under one of his bipolar diagnoses in 2011. Praise science, praise reason. Fucking neckbeard. Psychiatry is not psychology, true. Religion is not spirituality, also true. In both cases, the latter co-opted the former and sold it to you for easy consumption. That a bowl of cereal is not necessarily breakfast, if you know what I mean. Well, yeah, you can eat it any time when you're an adult, and somebody in a nursing home isn't scheduling your food. Freud has been largely discredited. He's complaining about Freud. Yeah, just Luke Werner just doesn't sound right. Psychology, it seems, is the subtle art of fighting your fears while staying under mother. 2009. What are the comments on this one? Apparently nothing. I've read it all except maybe the math. Oh, look, it's 2012, Lucas. Oh, I'm out of results for psychology. Well, since I've got his Facebook up, what other terms should I search? I'm not going to search the pedophile terms because we've seen those before, but they all are still there. Lucas can sort of grow a neck beard. If he really lets it go, it does actually go mostly down his neck, but he can also grow a patchy face beard, so I don't know if that makes you lose like your neck beard card or something. I don't grow a beard at all because I had that shit electro zapped off. I'm tired of shaving every day, and I look wrong with facial hair. on several different levels. I look wrong with facial hair. Hey, kitty. Yeah, that haircut was not doing any. Basically, if you're over 35 and you still have bangs and you're a guy, um, your mom cuts your hair. Hi, kitty. What are we doing? Don't walk on that. Yes, you're very cute, but don't walk on that. Lucas isn't even a gray beard yet, although his beard is getting there. He's actually going pretty gray pretty fast lately, but stress will do that to you. Oh, I should scroll away from that. Oh, right. I was going to search other terms. Drawing a blank, my brain isn't working so good anymore. Yeah, he used to, like, when he would be on Facebook or on YouTube bans, he would post to Facebook a lot. Same when Instagram would, like, shadow ban him or restrict him from posting. He posted to Facebook a lot. Um, we could, I'd say we could search up Lucas being racist about things, but I don't want to have to, like, type that word in where people can see it. Maybe I'll just scoot it off the screen. And we can see how many times Lucas has dropped a few slurs that Lucas is well known for dropping. Look at all of that. I am not going to read this word if it shows up in here at all. But let's see. I've had women come up to me and call me F slur, N slur, racist, misogynist. Bitch, devil, alien, sick, mental, crazy, stupid, idiot, fucktard, dork, geek, punk. Nobody's calling you punk. Oh my god. Nobody's calling you emo either. Literally nobody would look at you, Lucas, and think punk, unless it's like literally a boomer thinking that punk is still an insult. Queer. I can say that because I am. No, I wouldn't call Lucas. I wouldn't call Lucas that. No. He says it with an E. Says it with an E, not an AY. Rhymes with bigot. Punk would kick Lucas's ass for going after young girls. Talking about Westboro Baptist. White teenage girls don't care if you're black so long as you're not taking advantage of food stamps. I hope he's just like making fun of whatever this video is, because the video is clearly roasting those girls for whatever the hell it was they said. I think I've seen that video before. The one in the glasses looks familiar. Why did he censor the word fuck? What does it mean when a white guy is walking around like a crab going, no good, bet me, look at this date, no good, bet me, look at this date? No good, bet me, look at this date? You sound like the bass line from Dr. Dre's lyrical gangbang, dude. Why are you doing that, dude? Don't do that, dude. Don't say that word around me, dude. Like, nobody said that in what he was quoting. No comments on that one. Looks like we're not getting clarification. What does that mean? Oh, Lucas is trying to explain a joke. Let's see how we do here. So, the joke Lucas posted apparently is, in the beginning it was dark, really dark, darker than death metal or the best chocolate pudding you've ever had, but I repeat myself. And then somebody replied with, or Jill, I guess, replied, but was it really dark? And Lucas starts to, oh my god. I need to skim ahead on this one. I'm never going to be able to read it as I go. This is terrible. You didn't really answer the question? The hell? Yeah, Lucas goes back and forth between, I would never say that word anymore, And you shouldn't either, and fuck you for policing my speech. I'll say what I want because that's how free speech works. He goes back, and there's like two extremes he's on in that one. He just goes back and forth all the time. So here's his word salad explanation of the joke. In the beginning, it was darker than both pudding and or death metal. Darker than Lars Van Trier's movie about dancers in the park. It was so damn dark, in fact, that if you were to imagine the darkest thing possible and multiply it by infinity, then add one, it would still need to be zillion times more. It's not how infinity works. Then again, if time was cyclical, was it really all that dark? Then again, if that were true, there would be no beginning and there would be no end either. What the fuck? It would be like watching your own death over and over again. Isn't that what I'm doing? This time in 3D on IMAX widescreens with small children laughing through the entire movie at you, not with you. And every critic in the observable universe simultaneously vowing to shove red-hot pokers in your face if you ever die like that again. Is this like Lucas's real life that he's describing? Like people laughing at him or threatening to beat him up? Film critics just really enjoy torturing people because they know they couldn't direct flies to eat shit and because murder is currently illegal. What? Murdering another person's soul seems to be beyond the scope of the Supreme Court decision making at this juncture in time. Then again, I repeat myself, the idea of the Supreme Court having scope, laughable, but I digress. Lucas is trying to sound smart for Jill. As a matter of fact, even if you were one of these stubborn, undirectable, shit-eating flies, justices, and the shit also originated from your own ass due to corporate marketing of quantum physics these days, you would still be considered too slapstick to thought of as really all that dark? Did I get those words in the right order? That just sort of disintegrated. Lucas hasn't. He's not blocked. He actually could come in here anytime he wanted to, but he is a gigantic bitch. And he won't. The only reason he talked to me on the Owls thing was because he knew it would look bad if he rage quit. But Lucas is an absolute bitch. He would not come in here because he's a bitch. Oh god, there's one more paragraph. Advertising executives must have such small hearts made of nothing but concentrated evil swallowed by baby-eating sharks. Man, what a concept. Pretty dark, don't you think? Now you're sort of getting the idea of the kind of dark we're dealing with here. What? Her response is, ever think of singing? I mean, writing just doesn't seem to be your thing, LOL. Oh, here's why it came up in the search. So her response to Jill saying writing didn't seem to be his thing was, I agree, but only if you were to reverse everything you just said and divide by the sum of 0 plus the square root of 0, sort of. Take it to the zeroth power while we're at it. There we go. Perfect. Seriously, though, you really don't want to hear me sing. Oh, I know you sing. I sing. Even the President of the United States phones me up and yells the word, not gonna say that word, brings the street right out of him. Lucas is not racist. Because clearly he was complimenting, this would have been Obama. Okay. God, now he's arguing. He's trying to argue math with this other guy, and I'm not sober enough to argue math, because I probably actually wouldn't understand what was happening and couldn't tell you if Lucas was right or not. Knowing Lucas, he's not, but let's see. So we're in 2014 again here. You can talk to a Christian female. Ferengis. All I can see is a fucking Ferengi when he says female. Exactly like a Christian male talks to her, but as soon as she knows you're an atheist, she'll ask you to respect her religion as she respects you, but she'll see you as lesser than her Christian friends, especially if you use more literate language than just saying, N word, F slur every 2 words. Is this okay? First of all, nobody talks like that. Second of all, nobody talks like that. The word N word isn't even inherently evil. It comes from the Spanish word, and I'm going to fuck up the Spanish, so I'm just not even going to say that either, which means black, N word with an A. That's the etymology. That's bugs. That's the etymology of the fucking word. It's not the actual meaning behind why they picked it. But go off, because Obama is the coolest N word with an A. But if Jay Carey is in the room, Mr. President, and then he pastes a link to an Urban Dictionary definition of the word. The fuck. I don't want to watch the Cardinal do that, because I actually believe a Cardinal would have done that. Why not? We'll look up Lucas's favorite M word next. I'm not going to have to bleep myself too much on that one. Listen, look, if you hadn't watched Lucas on YouTube and were just familiar with him from the farms or from Instagram, for a while in 2020 and 2021, and I think in late 2019, he was doing live streams on YouTube. He never announced them or never scheduled them or anything. He'd just pop on, kind of like I do half the time, he'd just pop on and just start talking. But he didn't know how to turn the chat off, and he wanted people to be in the chat because he was sure that this time his fans would be there and not just those assholes. But people would be mean to him in the chat, and they'd just troll him, and he would usually rage quit. Any of the videos he's got on either one of his channels will have that green cast or the lives that he did from his last apartment. And delusion is one way of putting it. Yeah, yes, Gen Z, classism, age phobia, misogyny, and homophobia from the baseball cap clones you date, and yet you still date them. 2021. From the day before. Well, I tried to do a live stream, but they were incapable of being nice to me in the chat, so I shut it down, and he links to his live stream titled Be Nice to Me. I gotta see the comments on this one. All right. Oh, there's somebody, yeah, it's clearly not. We're all friends, he's got like 3,600 some friends on Facebook. I'm one of them. So is Jose, and so is Chris. Says, you guys need to stop messing with the Wern. Either hook him up or leave him alone. There were certain times around this time on Facebook that he would get mad at the reacts. Like he would post something like this, and people would post like laugh reacts to it, and he'd get like all pissed in the comments. Just be like, why are you all laugh reacting to this? Yeah, be nice to me. You're safe in my arms, Gen Z woman. I promise you. At least he didn't say female. Check out the comments on this one. I'm going to have to change my Facebook avatar after this just in case he goes looking for it. Let's see. Gen Z bitch inbound DM now. Thank you for the information. Lucas says enough misogyny. So the guy replies, Lucas has no idea when he's being trolled, by the way. So this guy replies, says, sorry, Cynthia, I don't think you're a bitch. It was stupid of me to say you look really good and seem nice. Definitely not a bitch. And Lucas says, come on, man, enough misogyny. Oh, God, he's so stupid. The correct term is narcissistic supply. I guarantee he got that wrong. His just before Valentine's Day last year. Fuck your misogyny, homophobia, racism, classism, and all other forms of bigotry, you fucking simp-ass clones. Oh, day before, he was real bitter with that one. You and your misogyny and greedy narcissistic supply of women. Okay, yeah, he definitely doesn't know a narcissistic supply. Ooh. Nice, nice Mercosaur there. I fail to see how your looking like every other dude look isn't going to manifest itself in misogynistically acting like every other dude towards the women act. What the fuck did I just read? I fail to see how your looking like every other dude look isn't going to manifest itself in misogynistically acting like every other dude towards the women act. Did that make sense to anybody else? Because no, I've read it twice now. Twice out loud and like 4 times silently. I don't. What the fuck? Why are his pupils so big in such bright light? That's gotta be brain damage. Ugh, greasy Lucas. The most common dudes are misogynistic. Maybe avoid the most common looking dudes so you don't accidentally breed with hem. Stealing memes. I think he was actually pronouncing misogyny right at that point. Right, so you're just going to give into the greed and misogyny of the guys of the thin blue line swooping and flashing 2 or more women at a time. I bet your fathers are so proud at you for giving into the pompous ass sexists of thin blue. Hashtag A. Forget the ACAT part. Whenever I see FTP in the back of my head, I know it means fuck the police. In the front of my mind, though, it's like file transfer protocol. Who do people still use that? Oh, Lucas, after having been to LA, hookups during COVID. Mm-hmm. Oh, we got Gen Z slang. Let's try this one. Hookups in the COVID-19, walking disease, urban decay, sluts to shame. That sounds a little misogynistic there, Lucas. Social distancing, facilitating menacing, misogyny. Well, slut shaming is misogynistic, Lucas. Patience petulant, hell to pay, savior for hire, contradiction, Generation Z, socialism, bourgeoisie, get a fever, scientific, on dead girl, power suck the patriarchs, messages out in cheerleader subliminal through the corporate teat of to ya boy skadunda jive for stay classless hood ride or die passion plays sword of fire and flame yeet of slay. Huh? What happened in that post? What happened in that post? It just sort of disintegrated into random words. Word salad, just word salad. Here's some virtue signaling. Every day you're alive, you're standing up against this bullshit patriarchal, misogynistic system of money, and that makes me proud of each and every one of you girls and women. At least he didn't say females. That's my favorite Lucas poem. Fucking Zoomers, they're not your women misogynists. They're not your property. You don't own them. Yeah, so take Lucas to the warehouse and give him one. That's not a good thumbnail. Sure, Lucas. Oh, you must also be anti-homophobic, anti-misogynistic, and anti-ageist. Ageist being, clearly the most important one. Yeah, it is actually. That's why you put a star in it. Oh, we're getting Lucas is. Oh, this is a jackpot. Hey, you know what? Why the hell not? Okay. This is one I haven't read, so this is going to be fun. We'll just do some speed reading. You're probably not going to be able to see what the fuck is on the screen here. I know it's really small. I'm gonna go grab a drink before trying to read this. Oh, I talk fast enough. It'll at least only be another half hour. But I need to get a drink first, or I will probably die trying to read this. I'll be right back. Cool. So, yeah, I had a huge bottle of water next to me, but I managed to go through it with all of this. So, yeah, we're at the all you can eat Wern salad bar here. Oh, this is terrible, and I haven't seen this one before. I need to search his Facebook more often. God damn. This one was not. I'm going to need to actually grab this one for virtual Wern because this one was not on any of his websites. Ooh. It's not that old either. It's from 2019, beginning of 2019. So, yeah, this was a few months before I first started talking to him on the account that he thinks is a 20-something-year-old woman. Okay, let's get started on age asym, and I'm not going to have the chat up in front of me where I can easily see it right now, because it's way too small on my broadcast screen, and I don't like rearranging my. Actually, I should rearrange my windows. I hate not having maximized browsers, and that does apply to me when I'm sober too. I just hate having browsers that aren't maximized. But yeah, let's see if I can just kind of. Oh, look at that! Made a mess of things, didn't it? All right, let me just pop you back on the screen. Slightly bigger. Yeah, it's still pretty unfucking readable. But anyway, I can at least see the chat. Oh my god. This is so long. Okay, so Lucas posted this on February 3rd, 2019. And it is titled, make sure my grammar is not the worst it could be. It is titled Age Asymmetric Love Urgency, which sounds like a medical condition. Men under 35 should not breed. This essay is not meant to provoke them or to provoke ageism any more than advocating for the increased intelligence and health of mixed-raced children should provoke racism. Women in the workforce with stay-at-home husbands should provoke misogyny or misandry, or same-sex marriages causes more. His bad grammar is making me think my grammar's fucked up and I'm doing it right. Or same-sex marriage causes more homophobia. There are biological stations we need to engineer into the cultural ethos of a popular culture so as to normalize true statements. It is inconclusive whether men between 35 and 55 give their kids stronger DNA. I'm sorry, did Lucas just admit that his research isn't concrete? Well, his research is stolen research. I'm giving myself eye strain. I'm just high as hell. I mean, my eyes do suck, but I'm wearing my glasses, so I can actually read the screen. It's the squinting you're hearing is brain squinting, because I know how like shit should be worded to be readable, and generally know how Lucas thinks. And when it's messed up, then my brain trips. So Lucas has just said it's inconclusive. It's inconclusive. Does he know what inconclusive means? It's inconclusive whether men between 35 and 55 give their kids stronger DNA. But there is a large amount of evidence to suggest that men between 35 and 55 give their kids stronger DNA. It's inconclusive, but has a large amount of data to. It's inconclusive, but it's basically conclusive. I think he meant to say it's conclusive there, maybe? The fuck? Not even a paragraph in and it's already confusing. Yeah, he did screw it up. Oh, let's see. A paragraph breaks, you stupid motherfucker. According to dozens of reports on government websites, men of a certain age window contribute in all ways to a fitter, healthier, happier, more giving, intelligent, physically stronger, more compassionate, better looking, less mentally ill, longer living progeny. Government websites say it must be true. The role is simple. Men of a certain age elongate the telomeres on their offspring's chromosomes through longer telomeres in the older men. That's not how it works. The culture itself is enough against the 18 to 24-year-old women being with 35 to 55-year-old men, portending the future hinges upon portending 35 to 55-year-old men having offspring with 18 to 24-year-old women, and that being the normal role. I got a bookmark with my mouse cursor to glance at the chat. Oh, look, it's one of those shitty spammers. Telomeres. This is the okay. Women 18 to 24 have a more spindle appearance on their ova than older and younger females, which, again, elongates the telomeres for their offspring. Duh. Remarkable as it though be, our culture is ageist and perhaps at the embryological level that is more damaging than the nihilate faculties of the single-raced future generations. Eugenics tries for... What? Okay, we're talking about eugenics. Eugenics tries for purity. The contest to eugenics embodies diversity. Since young women and older men lend stronger DNA through more telomerase on the parental reproductive cell DNA, the paradoxical agreement of mixed generational kids being the regular pattern, it ought not stir the culture, but clearly this is not the normal romantic relationship accepted by most of the world. What in the goddamn hell? Meow, I know. Yeah, you're very cute. You're a lot nicer than Lucas. Meow. Meow. Hey. Meow, meow. Distracted by cat. Where the hell was I? Oh, here we go. The ageist culture of bigotry, prejudice, and discrimination extends to a type of relationship that may add several years to life and a healthier population. IQ has been dropping since the Victorian era. There are 16 diseases on the rise in America. Citations needed for both. Every one of those diseases is linked to shorter telomeres. Again, citation needed. As is the aforementioned lower intelligence. Something has to be done. In 20,000 years, we may devolve into a lower species. The popular culture does little to satiate the desires of DNA reaching out to the proper match. We stand as a country that is vehemently against incest. In fact, incest is often a felony in most states because incest can lead to inbreeding, which damages the DNA through telomere. It's mostly mutations, but okay. Yeah, I'm not going to... Okay, please, there is not a cap on that water bottle. Watch where you are swiveling your entire back end. I'm gonna shut that. Hi. Trying to crawl inside of my Sith robe? I got a big old Sith bathrobe that I got years ago, and the cat likes to burrow in it. You're just a sweet kitty. Oh, where did I stop reading Lucas's bullshit? Oh yeah, DNA reaching out to its proper match. We're against incest. Mm-hmm. And yet we forego logic entirely when it comes to evidence of older men with younger women doing a more present job at natural selection through adaptation than Proximus aged young couples procreating. Cat, do not walk in front of the screen. I need to see it. No, don't. What are you all climbing on me? Why are you all here all of a sudden? Okay, you can't go there. You don't fit. There's not room for you there. Weird cat. Right. Venturing out onto the dating sites proves difficult. Navigating the culture of the bigot is just bittersweet poetry, while going after the cougar. I'm reading ahead and the grammar doesn't make sense and my brain keeps shifting gears without the fucking clutch. But he didn't get her pregnant, so it doesn't count as incest, according to Lucas. Lucas's bar and everything is just on the ground. Yeah, they don't like it when I'm editing audio on his videos to re-upload those. They don't like his voice. They just all leave the room. Anyway, I'm going to try this sentence again. Well, going after the cougar of a younger male with older female paradigm is a game, set, match. The reverse is seen as creepy and weird and a suicidal labyrinth out when older men, especially older men at an equal or lesser economic standing than the women of interest. Lucas, are you talking about yourself? As if democratic socialism were not the rising political among people born between 1995 and perhaps 2010, known as Generation Z or post-millennials. The paradigm... This is such a gross justification. The paradigm sees an old man of the patriarchy trying to get a free pass when that man is not playing the part of a sugar daddy with his engorged... Why would you use the word engorged here, Lucas? His engorged wallet, that's what Lucas is looking at, the engorged wallet. I totally fucking lost my place. Engorged wallet, or the older man is skipped over and ridiculed immensely despite each subsequent marriages and divorces choosing younger and younger female mate. Female mate? Okay, yeah, that's the right line. It just doesn't make sense. Female mate to elevate his status from the neighborhood to the boardroom. The money thing is rich with hypocrisy. Why can't we... I thought he was going to go on about why you have to have age asynchronous relationships. Why is he bitching about sugar daddies with engorged wallets? Is it because his is flabby? Can't be the same date, but here we go. Why can't we be of the same monetary status or below to date young women when women the same age or older don't seem to take into account economics? Because if you're going for someone old enough to be your dad, there's got to be more incentive than you just existing. You. It is confounding and bleak, he spelled bleak, B-L-E-E-K, by the way, that an attraction to young women makes one a foe in most cases, or through conditioning, an anti-hero sucking in all of the personal attacks that could engender to a peer review, or is that just paranoia? It's not paranoia either, it's just stupid. Anecdote and evidence suggest sapience in this matter. My God, how long is this? Nope, I scrolled too far. Why wouldn't the patriarchy set this longitude free on the silver screen once more as the 30s and 40s of the 20th century linked Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall 25 years apart in their marriage? Well, then it was cute. No, cute is... It was the same as it is now. It's just nobody said anything. Oh, youth entitlement. Okay. Youth entitlement since the 1940s hipster scene to beatniks, hippies, yuppies, and so on, protesting whatever has been the coup de grace. He spelled it G-R-A-S. He spelled coup de grace, G-R-A-S. Oh, that was good. Okay. The of the subcultural neoliberalism as a resistance since social justice is the wrath of the kids. Yet retro culture forebodes. Never do we see the old man being personified again as the popularity of Bernie Sanders among the embittered and rightly so youth. The wise old man archetype is returning to both conservatives and liberals, with conservatives that memoir is Donald Trump's. I guess I was going to say, did anyone consider Donald Trump wise? But then I remembered his entire base of morons. History repeats itself. Either the patriarchy does not know the facts, or the facts are known, and older men, as more likely probable, are past the age when they would want to get married or have children in the first place. So the facts are quasi-forgotten or too hidden. But by whom? The older patriarch perhaps gets off on puppy love for nostalgic reasons, or as a historic curmudgeon hates kids. What? Of course Lucas would accidentally pick the word it's fat. Why wouldn't he? That's all he's... Well, okay. I'm not going to make fat jokes. Most of his is largely medication related at this point anyway. I still want to know how he gained like 50 pounds being homeless. Like, what the fuck was he eating? Just a constant stream of gas station junk food? Oh, great. I read that in Bowie's voice. We could also be heroes. It's up to the older men not to act as though biology entitles one to a mate. You mean the way you do on a daily fucking basis? Despite the urge to blurt forth to begin, you know it really is quite compelling to young women. Because to hit on a young lady takes a certain finesse that facts don't seem to comply at all online, offline, or even in literature. The trouble is, there's no guidebook for such an exchange, because as previously noted, older women and women the same age do not mind intellectual accreditation in order to be pursued, while younger women take it more of as an affront to even, hi, how are you, those shoes look pretty, that any other age or group of women would be flattered to hear. Yeah, you bitches, he likes your shoes, they're pretty. What an idiot. Okay. Older and the same age, but younger ladies apparently do not accept as good timing, and that's fair. Older and the same age, but younger ladies apparently do not accept as good timing, and that's fair. What in the hell? Everyone is quite different, and some groups may want to hear, albeit indirectly, that a certain age man would procure them healthier offspring. But the trouble is that men this age may want children, but our economic system is uncouth when it comes to the monetary stability enough to do children, but are to do children to do so when both as a pair are likely not financially steady enough to bear BARE, young, which is sad. This whole post is sad. The financial instability means one of the partners has to be sound in accrued interest, and it likely will not be the younger person, so the responsibility falls on the man almost every time in the May-December romance. Yeah, because you're trying to date a child. I don't think one would want to genetically be the Incredible Hulk. That guy had a few issues going on, mostly related to anger. Lucas has anger issues too, but Lucas isn't nearly as interesting. What are we doing back there? Oh, we're playing in a box. Okay. Why would he bring up the Hulk? One can be genetically the Incredible Hulk and live in a tiny one-bedroom studio apartment looking for his anti-corporate queen, and she still won't reciprocate love because the guy doesn't live in a big house on the hill, even if she admires his bulky, muscled, green-skinned rage at the villainies of corporate American life in the two-party dictatorship of 2019. He thinks he's describing himself. Don't realize that, right? He thinks he's describing himself in that Hulk paragraph? I don't think he understands what the Incredible Hulk is. I mean, that guy at least has PhDs. Lucas couldn't even get one. And he had them plural. I'm pretty sure he also had a decent amount of money at one point, too. But so Lucas thinks he's genetically the Incredible Hulk. He doesn't have the department anymore. Oh my God. We also have this notion of preference being key. When preference is tightly grounded in some form of social discrimination, something frowned upon by at least progressive thinkers, the reproach is quite chaotic and exhausting to make any kind of headway, in contrast to the coaxing from friends to friends. Lucas, you don't have any friends. Make a move. Talk to her. Make a move. Any kind of greeting based in a ricochet of 1,000 ways to say no, or at the most in terms of social politeness, a no thank you. So he's scared of talking to women. You kind of do that. How just, oh my God, how did he just compare himself to the Incredible Hulk? I mean, yeah, he looks maybe like a fat bearded Hulk when he's wearing his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirt, but this is horrible. I don't even think it's half done. This was a bad idea. Let's see. When we can do better for our kids, we need to strive to do better for our kids. We have prohibited a great many things do not warrant prohibitive measures, drugs, agreed, prostitution and gambling. Yeah, okay. Are in the realm of adult entertainment and are proven in cases where legal to be less damaging than that under the schedules of illegality. Why would you word it that way? The Incredible Bulk. Yeah. Children toys. Here we go. We have prohibited things that do warrant prohibitive measures. Inbreeding. Small toys for young children aren't prohibited. They just have warning labels on them. Toxic and damaging goods to people and animals, not really. Gun purchases under a certain age do better as restricted and taboo for safety reasons. We do not question how we regulate incest because the police and laws do what is necessary to protect the public. What happened to fuck the police, Lucas? What happened to fuck the police? Maybe we shouldn't question how we're going to monitor breeding with men under 35 and allow the law to do its job. Yeah, how are you planning to enforce that, Lucas? Yeah, and kids don't want it either. Men between 35 and 55 should breed more often. We know now that venturing outside intrafamilial sex gives us healthier population. No, now? Are you pretending like it's just because unless you were like part of a really inbred royal line somewhere, most people had a pretty good idea that it's not a good idea to have kids with your real close relatives because they usually are a little fucked up. That's not new knowledge, but okay. This is the new precipice one looks over when considering wanting to start a family. How long ago does he think people were just looking within the family to start one of their own? It's so creepy and weird. Like he's really hung up on incest here. We know young women are more apt to give offspring a better chance and a more sentience. and a decidedly buffer body than what incest slash inbreeding guarantees. A buffer body? What the hell does a buff baby look like? The information that an older dad does what a younger mom does is obviously noted behemoth that can jump skyscrapers in an enraged fit to attack the patriarchy. Then without this information, from either selfishness or ignorance, abounds an adolescent that they think knows everything and becomes more open-minded by collegiate age. Somebody was trying to use a lot of big boy words there, and it did not go well. Holy shit. This is just like pure word salad at this point. Some things just take time, and in time the picture becomes clear, and there are things wrong with society. All right. The Earth is no longer thought to be rotated by the sun. I mean, does he know the sun's gravity plays a role in this? Okay. Slavery is no longer thought to be ethical. I mean, for the most part, even when slavery was generally legal, it wasn't necessarily thought of to be ethical in a lot of cases, just legal. But good to know it's, according to Lucas, unethical now. Polio now has a vaccine. Yeah. There are indelibly things that are indeed new under the sun. Only a Cro-Magnon male, those are extinct, would think that gays, people of color, and women are mentally deficient today. But before the 1960s, those were accepted views. Pop culture changes. New things happen all the time, every day in the world. This information should not be avoided despite not being self-evident. Older men in a clearing of 35 to 55 years old ought to do all the breeding beyond preference being rooted in prejudice. Men under 35 would do best, even for themselves, to not breed. Genetically, it is new information that ought to cling to the cultural psyche like Spider-Man on a slippery slope still has an ironclad grasp despite the goofy clothing choices. Apparently, Lucas does not know that the sun's gravity is what causes the planets to go spinny, spinny round it. It's Lucas. Do you actually expect him to know anything? Like anything correct? I mean, he can make up facts all day long. That's what he does. Oh, we're getting into some anti-Semitic talk later on. Fun. So, Spider-Man on his slippery slopes with an ironclad grasp despite his goofy clothing. He doesn't know how Spider-Man works either. Okay, circular reasoning only goes down the drain in remark of preferences needing to be respected when biology outweighs love. In the case of incest giving Europe the Habsburg. Okay, the Habsburg jaw was like the least of the Habsburg line's problems. And incest depression seen in redder, more conservative. Like, seriously, the Habsburg line, their jawline was like the absolute least of the genetic fuckery issues that family had going on. But yeah, sure, let's go with the fact that they had funny jaw lines. What are you doing over there? Weird cats. God. This is not an argument of rich versus poor. It is. You just finished bitching about classism for like 5 paragraphs. This is a matter of a future for our species. Would one date their opposite sex sibling even if they agreed upon not having children? I mean, statistically, in certain areas of the country, there's a lot of people that would answer yes to that. It's not even like half done. It's not even half done. So we're talking about fucking your siblings if you're not going to have kids. And the answer to that question The answer is an obvious negation. Let's not forget the gaslighting of the Jews as bigots during the Holocaust as an example of how eugenic proponents favored purity over diversity, and that the salient breadth is the same. Wait. The salient breadth is meant to strive against eugenics, for aren't most couples the same age? He's likening it to the Holocaust. Okay. So that's not an appropriate comparison. And I mean, if Lucas were smarter and really were trying to be the dark, edgy comic he likes to pretend to claim he was, I would give him credit for incorrectly using the word gaslighting in that sentence. But Lucas isn't that smart. Lucas just doesn't know what gaslighting is. But according to Lucas, basically the Holocaust was just gaslighting Jews for a couple of decades. So, shocker, Lucas doesn't know what the Holocaust was, or what any of its underlying causes were, or that there were more than just Jewish people killed as well. But, that's not going to do the comparison for Lucas. And remember, Hitler is like the father of psych meds, according to Lucas, too. So, that was from another post. Like, why would you even... You're not oppressed because nobody wants to fuck you. What if they were all the same race? Would a white-skinned person attracted to most brown-skinned people also be gaslit as being prejudiced despite mixed-race children having more protected DNA? That's not what gaslighting is. Yeah, he bonkers back and forth between Russia and China and as the communist country he loves most. Every now and then he'll make a weirdly favorable comparison to North Korea as well, which isn't surprising, but let us consider that empathy is housed in the right super marginal gyrus. God, it's this face. Oh no. I hope I don't have to say that more than once or twice. Does that not prove a rather obvious point with dwindling empathy? Oh, is that what short telomeres there do? Apparently. Short telomeres versus long telomeres isn't even a debate. Let us ditch the old ways when the old ways are tantamount to brain damage, says the first-hand expert in brain damage. Let us embrace the old ways when before 1912 and Wilhelm Weinberg said the opposite about older dads, as telomere scientists now do since 2012, a full century since Weinberg. Like Aristotle stated, the sun rotated the earth only to be challenged. So when he says sun rotated the earth, okay, so he's just wording that badly. Okay. So he could just say like heliocentric. That would have been a bigger, smarter sounding word than sun rotated. I mean, did the sun rotate? So I know what he's going for, but he is also displaying just like a huge lack of how space works. But yeah, he's bad wording. He's just terrible, terrible wording. But yeah, and the wording on that makes it makes him sound even dumber than he intended to sound. Either that or I'd say he's missing a word, but he said the sun rotated the earth multiple times here. So he's not missing a word here. He's trying to say that the sun orbited the earth, not the other way around. So a heliocentric solar system. Or not a heliocentric, the other option. I don't know. I only remember a few big words at this point. Anyway, when it was becoming clear and foreboding all over Europe that established religion had no idea what it was talking about. I mean, in general, people have known that forever. It's just they're in positions of power that they're not easy to dislodge from. The old ways were prior to Aristotle, when India knew the truth about rotating earth and sun. The rotating earth and sun. It is not an ornate supposition. The only challenge is using evidence to a country blasted by by incorrigible, unfounded, and debatable faith to create pop culture in a way that sometimes alters the ego of the population, but more often than not offers a fake image to a fake civilization. Oh, here's the we breed old studs to young fillies. Autumn drops a lot of seed. He wrote it down. He wrote down his terrible plant reproduction theories. I've only heard them in videos before he actually wrote it down somewhere. I mean, I knew he was reading off of it when he did those videos because he was looking at paper and not his camera. Let's have some plant biology with Lucas. Autumn drops a lot of seed. Spring next year is a pollen bring. Autumn drops a lot of seed. Spring next year is a pollen bring. This is a terrible poem. This correctly matches up to an expression in the Fibonacci sequence called the golden ratio numerical gap, the author's suppositions on wit of necessity. Is he talking in the third motherfucking person right now? The golden ratio number gap is the expression of all gaps in the Fibonacci sequence. And thank you for pasting from Wikipedia. We all know what the golden ratio in the fucking Fibonacci sequence is. We see Fibonacci black holes, spiral galaxies, planetary orbits, roses, cones, fish through mammals. Oh, fish through mammals. Okay, yeah, fish through mammals. Cloud formation. This is not a choice. This is nature. Since we see, we're back to the human. Where women between 18 and 24 are meant to be with men between 35 and 55. Clearly, we're all hearing idiots. The controversy is that by being ageist, one is not always age-phobic, as demisexuals prefer a connection beforehand. We prefer to enlighten by the cosmos. The universe being older than the galaxies, being older than the stars, being older than the sun. The sun is a star. The sun. Oh, please tell me he knows the sun is a star. He knows the sun is a star, right? He knows the sun is a star. He has to know the sun is a star. He doesn't think the sun is just a particularly bright planet, does he? Oh my God. There is a possibility Lucas might not know the sun is a star. I know kids in kindergarten that know the sun is a star. Older than the stars, being older than the sun. The sun is a star. It's a middle-aged star. There's stars that are older and stars that are younger. Being older than the earth, being older than the moon, being older than water, being older than dirt, being older than life. Shut up. Further down the pike, it should be obvious the multiverse prefers a certain level of decorum. The multiverse? This is not a Marvel cinematic feature. In our romantic interludes by every facility of existence being in an intergenerational pattern. Capes and underwear outside the leotard does not seem fitting for regular. Look, I would take capes and underwear outside the leotard over whatever the hell you're bitching any day. Even if it meant I had to see you in a leotard and panties on the outside. Where is that? I lost my place. Fitting for society, but does have some flair for the flamboyant. And it would be wise to express the reasons for our desires, notwithstanding, to know why we feel the way we do about our longing affections in this age-crossing sequence being a heroic death. The universe has an intergenerational pattern. That is my favorite Lucas poem ever because he's just so into it. And he takes these long dramatic pauses just to like read ahead because he doesn't have his own poem memorized. Everything is outside the possibility for Lucas when it's not coming down to dying in a nursing home before you're 50 because your feet go septic. I don't know, maybe I'm being not as optimistic as I should be about the Wern right now. Where was my place? Oh, he mentioned the Philippines. Oh, yeah, that one little tiny study that had like 30 people in it. And it was specific to that population. Lucas isn't Filipino. Oh, let's see. Men under 35 should not breed for a number of reasons. It would be senile to keep up this trend. Malfeasant are the way. Why is he talking like this? Like, I don't know if it's a scarier concept that he would have been like high when he wrote these things? Or that he would be like sober and go like, yeah, this is a great idea. I'm surely going to get a bay now. Like he had to. I got enough dream catchers up. And before anyone gets on my ass about that, they are authentic and they are made by tribes indigenous to the area that dream catchers are from in this part of the country. They're very nicely made, too. Let's see here. Nationalism, we are all normal. No. But some are abnormally advanced. Well, that is not you. Lucas, I guarantee you are not abnormally advanced. And that surprises Reinhard Stindl of Denmark. Why is he writing this like it's fiction at this point? At least he's not much of a tense shifter. I really hate that. Or someone who uses wood where they shouldn't use wood, like when they're describing an action. Like if you're doing like a tabletop thing and you try to describe what your character's doing, you say, my character would walk up to the table and then would. It's like, okay, technically I know what you're getting at, but that's not really how you should be using wood. It drives me nuts. Lucas's grammar is on about the same level, and I was just kind of killing time because I can't read the screen and not spell things everywhere. I can't do two things at once anymore. This is eye poison. Imagine trying to have to think through it enough so the words on the screen translate to words that come out of your mouth and not fuck it up every other word because he's using way more words than he should be. God, plethoric. Now, Feason are the ways that one publication pointed out contribute a great deal to genetic abnormalities in our species. We are all normal, but some of us are. So he just said that this contributes to a great deal, which would mean like statistically a lot if we're talking a great deal, of genetic abnormalities, but then goes on and says we're all normal after he just mentioned genetic abnormalities. You can't use the word abnormalities and then keep using the word abnormal. You can, but it doesn't make any sense. So let's see. We've surprised Reinhard Stindl of Denmark, who wrote the Paradoxical Sperm Paper in the National Institute of Health. So no title, no publication date, no citation, nothing other than the dude's name. Okay. I mean, I can Google it, I guess. He made it up. He made it up. He made it up. He made it up because it suits his reality, or the reality that he wants. Oh, let's see here. There was a longitudinal study from the Philippines. There is the plethoric of article and paper on this finding. Men under 35 should reproduce. Why is he talking like this? Plethoric of article and paper on this. Compounding the verbosity with facts has lended the topic some thought. Insipid are the I am not sober enough to read this. Vicissitudes of being eons from the undertaking consideration is not like the story of. It's not unlike the story of Dracula. Dracula's not. Bram Stoker's not Dracula. Please also tell me that he knows that Bram Stoker is the author of Dracula and not actual Dracula. Even in Stoker's time, being 33 years older than your bride is still something that a lot of people would side-eye, especially if she was under 18 when you got married. Both the old man and the young women in Dracula were testimonials on life. He being 400 years old and they being around 18. Vampire law as fear-mongering tactics may have actually meant something else. Well, He really just tried to say that Dracula was really about age gap love being a taboo. It's not the plot of Dracula. That's not even the subtext plot of Dracula. It's not, oh my God. What a fucking moron. Perhaps the metaphor is old men lend testosterone to her and young women lend progesterone to him in a continual cycle, not yet understood scientifically, but personally mixed with his nightmares from ancient stories of things that become uncontrollable with time for both sexes? I'm sorry, what? In the fuck is he trying to explain the plot of Dracula as? I don't think he's ever read Dracula. I don't think he'd understand it if he did. The conjecture has mounds of evidence. No one expected William and Orville to send flight into the imagination of Stan Lee. Okay, sure. Opulent reasoning does not exclude the just so stories of puppy love befitting our Valentine's Day when your dad is on his third wife and stepdad is on his third as well, both mares being... Mares and fillies are two different things, but okay. Both mares being young fillies in their father's mind for over 30 years of each raw, sweet merit. Oh. Everything about what I just read is disgusting. Oh, Christ, we're almost to the end. Good, because I'm really getting tired. Proximus age couples are ostensibly against nature. Older men, by several studies, provide ample reason for young women between 18 and 24 to date from 35 to 55 years old, for the sake of fitter children, both from both corresponding ages of parents. Embryologically speaking, this template makes somewhat sense when compared to incest being a felonious act leading to the probable result of inbreeding in many cases. He's just weirdly obsessed with inbreeding. Probably because he still wants his niece, but... Well, it's difficult to convince young women of an older man's esteemed worth. It's not if he's got that fat bulging wallet, Lucas. One would be wise to know the information, even without the desire to reproduce, on some level enough to say to men under 35 that having children early for the male is probably irresponsible in the first case. It is a matter of sowing the wild oats for men in their 20s, anyway that ought to be supported, even at the reciprocation that older men might not find a mate due to age phobia and discrimination alone genetically does a type of Habsburgian damage when looked at from a dry scientific perspective of intelligence and disease. That underlying rigmarole typifies an urgency to breed sickness right out of the species if such young ladies engender to a new paradigm. That's it. That's his. That was horrible. That was legitimately horrible. I had better... Lucas never goes back and deletes his shit, and I don't think he's ever going to, because I'm pretty sure he's locked out of his Facebook account. But, yeah, this is what I actually didn't have, so I'm going to go ahead and do a copy-paste of it and toss it up on the website. Yeah, so it's way later than it should be, and this has been going on for over 2 hours, and that was fucking horrible. So I'm going to just kind of end this here, get this saved, and probably go crash. Yeah, that last bit was absolutely horrible. I am glad I found it because it was a nice new big chunk of worm stuff that I hadn't seen before, so that was fun. But yeah, that's what y'all get to go to bed with. Just that. They'd probably just find crusty socks inside of his skull. There's no brains up there. Those rotted away years ago. What is happening in my kitchen? Why is there stuff falling? Who opened a cabinet? Oh my God. Okay. Somebody opened a cabinet, somebody being a cat, and have knocked down the entire shelf of Tupperware like it's an infomercial going on in my house. So I'm going to go deal with that and, yeah, enjoy this being your last thoughts of the night, this horrible thing